Hi, y'all. It's Jena. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. I'm going live with another Jena Unplugged today, and just wanted to have a conversation about, do you ever feel like quitting your business? And so if you're here with me, if you join me live, please give me a yes or no on that. And it's good to be honest, like I have. So my truth is that, sure, I've definitely felt like quitting. And so I want to talk about what that looks like and how it shows up. And I actually started to realize over the time that I've been in business, what it really, how it really impacts me and what I do about it when it shows up. So again, welcome to another Jena Unplugged. If you're joining me now, hi Katrina, and just wanting to find out if I'm the only one that ever feels like quitting my business occasionally, and find out what we do about it, right? So this conversation actually came off of, it was I guess inspired after a conversation I was having with a client. And I get a lot of inspiration from my clients. And so thank you to them because we're in the moment, we're in the coaching, we're facing the challenges, we're uncovering what's keeping them stuck. And so a lot shows up inside of those sessions. And then it's a huge reflection of what I go through and what I've been through and how I can certainly support my clients and others to go through it or come out on the other side. So I owe this inspirational talk, this conversation to one of my clients last week. And and there was this feeling for her. Hey, Cheryl, welcome. Good to see you. I haven't talked to you in a while. It was this, I call it the rubber band effect or the rubber band reaction. And that's what I saw is when she was communicating to me, it's like, maybe I should just go get a job. Maybe this is just not working. I definitely need to increase my income, and maybe I should just quit this whole thing and go back and get a job. And so I have absolutely been there. And, when I came out of corporate America 11 years ago, and most of my career has been working for someone else. And I got really clear about 11 years ago that I didn't want to do that. Even though the perception or the illusion is that it's safer or that it solves all the problems. So when she was sharing this with me and I listened and I heard, certainly the reaction she was in and just what she was feeling, I recognized that that's exactly what it is. It's a reaction to something. It feels like the safer, easier way. And so if it's easier to get to the job and not have to deal with all the things and all the pressure and all of the challenges that business ownership comes with, then we do this rubber band effect. And the visual that came to my mind is that, a rubber band, we start with it at a natural state of a rubber band, and then we start stretching it slowly but surely. We start stretching ourselves, and we get our brave on, and we try new things, and then we struggle with them, and then we stretch a little bit more. And of course, me being the coach, my job, I feel, is to stretch my clients, because what's on the other side of our uncomfortableness is the gold, right? So we stretch ourselves and we stretch and we stretch. And then at some point we get to this rubber band that's so stretched, then we pop back and go, I quit, right? So please, anybody relate? Hi, Cheryl. Thank you. Exactly. Right? We pop back that rubber band in our mind, at least in emotions, and would rather quit and just like go back to that safe, natural zone that we think is better for us. When all that's happening is we're getting stretched and we're coming up against that next level, that next brave, as I call it. And so we were talking, this client and I, and she was just feeling the quit. She was feeling like it would be easier if I just go get a job. I wouldn't have to make these sales calls. I wouldn't have, right, Katrina, all the time. And so, and I just listened and heard where she was. And then I recognized that the rubber band was in action, right? It was popping her back. And it's all inside of our mindset and our emotions and how we reframe it. And so what I shared with her is that it is in this moment that we have to recommit, and I will hold the commitment for my clients if they can't, right? It's like, what were you committed to? What do you really want? Do you really want a job? Because I know the truth, right? If you really look at your truth, it's like, that's, if you're a business owner and you really enjoy being a business owner, then typically the answer is no, I don't want to go backwards. I don't want to go back to a job and work for someone else. Like, I don't know if that's true for you guys, but that's clearly true for me. And so I knew it's like, get to the truth, right? Just like set aside the reaction, get to the truth of the matter, and then start to look at what is it that's actually creating the quit. What is it? Overwhelm, and you've just got a lot on your plate. Thank you for the love, guys. Hi, Amy. Welcome. Good to see you. Happy New Year, Amy. And Emilio, thank you for being here. And so it was so powerful because, number one, we could get clear on the recommitting, right? Really getting clear on what she wants. And we're just not there yet. Like, we're not 100% at the goal. And by the way, you never get to 100% because there's the next goal. But, and then we got true about, telling the truth about, what she really wants, and also what is she facing that's uncomfortable. And for her, we're looking at, speaking more, having more sales conversations, asking for the money, and just different things like that. And those things can be really, really uncomfortable and scary and fear driven, and and then rejection shows up, and that fear of rejection. And so if we could compartmentalize what this rubber band of reaction was all about, then we could reframe it, and we could really face it head on instead of run from it. And I don't know if this relates to, for you, but it's that the quit is simply the reaction, and it's kind of like the tantrum that we throw. It's the, like, I just want to quit this and do something else. It would be easier over here. And really, it's simply your stretch and the uncomfortable zone that you're approaching or that you're in. And so one of the things I always say is entrepreneurship is not the easy way, it's the brave way. And I have identified so many times in my life the brave that I chose, right? The thing that I said yes to, even though I was scared to death, or I was scared of what someone was going to think, or how they were going to judge me, or or standing in front of a room. I didn't speak in my business until 2013. I was scared of it. I was really hooked on worrying about what other people thought. And the truth is once I stopped making it about me and my uncomfortableness, and made it about my commitment, my vision, and my desire to help people, I just got on the first stage, which was in front of like 20 people in a restaurant, and delivered my best, like just do what I can do. And the truth is they didn't know the difference. They don't have anything to compare it to. And I focused on just being engaged with those people. And I just talked to them like I'm talking to you right now. And it was hard. It was scary. I was like so glad it was over the first time, but it was uncomfortable. And then I did it again and again and again and again. I mean, I spoke probably 4 to 6 times a month when I threw myself into it, because I knew if I kept doing it, it would get easier. If I kept doing it, and I knew it was going to grow my business. And the truth is it did. It absolutely started catapulting my business. So I want to know what you guys are getting from this. So let me check in. Amy, discomfort means growth. Absolutely. And I've been growing too much lately. I get it. So growth is not a bad thing, right? It is. And I know you, and I know what you're up to, and I know that you're getting your brave on every single day. So don't quit. Keep moving. And, and it's really about that growth, and it is about finding, of course, what you need to do and what priorities are required in order to get where you want to go. But if you can just recognize, and Amy, you obviously just did, that discomfort or that uncomfortableness is on purpose, right? It is the stretch. It is the rubber band stretching. And if we can just imagine this rubber band goes on and on and on, and we don't have to do this rubber band, retraction, then our lives would be so much easier, right? But when the retraction happens, when that rebound happens, then it is our opportunity not only to seek help if you need to, reach out to your coach or whatever it is, but if you can't see it for yourself in the moment, but it is to say, okay, what is this really about? And look at what you want to do in your business, where you want to go, and be willing to face it, like put it on paper, hold it in front of you and go, okay, this is all that's going on. And all I have to do is take the next baby step, take the next action so that the stretch is subtle, right? Just keep stretching. And, I mean, there are times that I've really done the leap of faith, and I remember my first 3-day event in 2016. I had first spoke in 2013, right? That was the first leap of faith, and kind of like jump off the cliff. And then I kept doing that. And then like a year and a half later, I had my first 1-day event, which was the next brave, like, holy cow, I have to hold a whole room and like manage a whole room for a whole day of like 70 people. That's who registered. And it was crazy, but at the same time, I'm like, I got this. I can do this because it's about them. It's not about me. It's not about what I look like. It's not about the dress I'm wearing. And it turned out to be an amazing day, and an income happened, and all these positive things came from it. But the biggest thing was I proved to myself brave works, right? And so when I did that, then I set myself up for the next 1 day, and I did about 3 more 1 days. And then I committed to what I would call the next jump off the cliff, which is a 3-day event. And that 3-day event occurred in 2016, my first one. Now I hired team, I hired coaches, I hired people that knew more than me and had done it before me, so that I wasn't trying to figure it out on my own. And they would support me through the moments when I wanted to quit, especially about a month before that event. It gets so overwhelming that if you don't have a coach that's like, you got this, just focus on one thing, focus on this is what's next, the overwhelm can be pretty debilitating. And so for me, I recognized the overwhelm. I mean, I'm about a month out, I was like, I give up. And I just want to go lay down and, sleep for a week. And I didn't. And I stayed committed to the people that were showing up, right? I refocused, get it off of what I'm feeling and focus on what I'm delivering. And so thank you, Cheryl. That's so nice of you. I'm glad this is serving you. So thank you. Let me see, Katrina, I've been standing still for a long time. I was worried about the 5-year stretch of failure, but 2018 is 5 years for me and I am still here. Yes. Oh my gosh. So now is my time to stretch a little more, just a little. Yes, commit. Right. This is so good. Katrina, I'm curious, what's your business, if you don't mind sharing? It is, yes. And every day and every year, and is a new beginning. So I'll be honest and very open. My stretch for this year is like getting very visible, like at a high level online. And so my truth is that I've built my business over the last 5 years speaking in public. Now, remember what I just said. I didn't speak at all until 2013. But then I did that and I started mastering it and I got better and better and better. And now I'm more comfortable with it. Doesn't mean the nerves are still not there, but I got more comfortable with it. And I built a multi-6-figure. I actually generated $1.2 million over the last 5 years by speaking. And but that was belly to belly. So my stretch this year is to get comfortable with this, like Facebook Lives and being online. And I'm building an online course and training online and being as public as I can on social media and things like that. And the truth is, for me, is that that's a stretch. It's uncomfortable. It's I'm actually, last week I identified one of my fears as judgment. And so I'm looking at that, like, am I willing to be judged, right? And because it will hold me back if I don't say yes to that question. It will keep me small if I don't say yes to that question. And so what is it that you have to say yes to help open that rubber band, right? To stretch that rubber band. What do you have to say yes to? Is it investing in yourself? Is it speaking? Is it doing what I'm doing and getting online in a bigger way? Is it hiring team right? I've done that. I've overcome that hurdle as I've, scaled my business. So there's all the different levels that we go through in business. And then there's the next stretch. And I just highly recommend, no matter what, get support wherever you need it, right? But I'm very honest, like this year is like, okay, I was really focused on it in December going, what is my next year all about? And what do I have to stretch in? And I recognize that I have built comfortably, per se, over the last 5 years, speaking in public, being on stages and kind of being in person with networking and things like that, which I still say go do. Like I said, I generated a lot of money from that. However, now I want to reach the masses. I want to reach more of you guys. And I know that I'm very clear that it works to be online, but it's uncomfortable. It's not the same. And yet it's necessary for me. So here I am. And thank you guys for being, present to that, being on my Facebook Live. So let me check in. Allocate answering service. So Katrina, we provide virtual, oh, I love that. Virtual receptionist to small businesses. Very cool. Very cool. I love that. Thank you for the likes. This is great. Amy, my heart doesn't want to quit and I won't, but my wallet supporting 4 children says to get a job. I totally get it. So, Amy, if I may offer one idea, because I was actually just saying this to another client, is when you get to the quit and you want to, it's like you've got to get the income coming in. I think you might be doing some of this already. It's not necessarily about the job, but there's how do you create another revenue stream that will support your basic needs or your minimums, and then you build the business. So that is absolutely okay. It's not failure to do that, right? It's absolutely okay. So I think the first step for anyone feeling that way, or just feeling the pressure, is to give yourself permission. When I started my business, number one, 2006 was when I became an entrepreneur, and I bought a storefront. The storefront failed. I closed it 2007, and 2007 when in October I was like, what am I going to do? Well, I knew I needed, my husband and I are both entrepreneurs, so it's like livelihood is necessary. And so I immediately thought of, number one decision. I did not want to get a job and I didn't want to work for anyone else. Number one, it's not a good tax advantage to work for a W-2, in my opinion. Being the controller that I was, I'm like, I'm clear. A 1099 or self-employment saves on taxes if you can do it the right way. And but I remember making that decision extremely clearly, like it was done. And then I went to like, okay, what do I need to do to make sure income's handled or the mortgage is paid? And so I called my previous boss and I said, hey, I'm looking for some contract work in doing my outsource controlling, because I knew I could make good money and I knew that skill like the back of my hand. And sure enough, he said, well, we're not hiring, so that's okay. And yes, I have 2 clients that you might reach out to that you would be perfect for. And I had reached out to one other previous client that was I already had a personal relationship, so I just called them directly. Bottom line is, nobody in my marketing, nobody in my networking, we were building a web and graphic design company at the time, my husband and I, and nobody knew that I was moonlighting as a contractor for these 3 clients, making about $3,000 a month or so to make sure that my mortgage was paid, right? Some of the basics were paid. And so I used that as my funding source. I used it as, and I did that for like, how many years? I think I finally let go of all of them. And by the way, I didn't let go. Like I was fighting letting go of it. Like I kept resisting the let go because the money was good and they fired me or let me go. So sometimes the 2x4 comes when you are not willing to like step out yourself, but that's okay. It all works. And I think that was 2013 when I finally, let go of that. So just notice I had a funding source to make sure mortgage was paid and some expenses were taken care of. And I did that. And, the truth is, as soon as I let that go, I actually opened the space for the other business to make even more. But I was working on the business while I was doing those other odd jobs or odd contract work. And that's who I was showing up out in the marketplace. Nobody knew about those contract jobs. I just did them on the side because I wasn't marketing myself that way. And that was intentional. And so for any of you out there that's struggling with that pressure, find a contract job that pays what you're worth. I was making $100 an hour doing that because I had 8 years experience. I knew what I was doing in that contract, that skill, right? And so I made good money. And yet it wasn't my heart. It wasn't my passion to do that full time or long term or any of that. I used it for the purpose that it was meant to be. And I served them well. So my point is, and Amy, it just kind of comes back to your point about the wallet. And sometimes we just have to pick up the contract work. And I know you come from corporate America and working for, someone else in the past. And it's like, find, what you can do to create that funding source and then keep working or investing, in how to build your business on the other part of it. So just a thought. Katrina, I remember meeting you when you first started. Oh yeah, right? Like, look how things have changed. So glad you're here. And let's see, Amy, I need to say yes to the amount of time it is taking. It is taking long and more time. Yeah, so that's a good point. It's like we have to keep saying yes. And some of our journey and our paths are longer than others. So, sometimes it is just your journey and it is taking as long as it takes. And I know, and you and I have talked about this, is that if you want it accelerated, that's when you hire the help or the support. And that's when I hired a coach. And you and I know what's up, what we're talking about around that. But the opportunity is to accelerate, is to get the support and learn, it's like really look at what it is you don't know. There was a point where I was just really clear. I didn't know what I didn't know. I couldn't see the blind spots. I couldn't see another way to build my business. So I had to get someone else to show me a different way. So, if anybody can relate to that, it's just, there's a point where you get the funding, you find the resources in order to get the acceleration. So that's one way to look at it. And no matter what, however long it's taking, I honor you for being brave and staying in the game, because I can look at it and go, well, I've been an entrepreneur for 11 years and I'm just now hitting, getting to those multi-six-figure years. And it's like, well, what about the million? And yes, that's my goal. But I'll tell you this, I will not make $1 million a year if I have to spend $1 million doing it. So my motto, my focus for me and my clients and anyone involved is focus on the profit. And so I not only scale my business and do it in a smart way, but also looking at what am I investing, what am I spending at this stage in my game, right? I'm 11 years in. So I want to make sure that I am reaching for those high goals and stretching myself in a big way, but it's about, being able to be profitable at the same time. So those are just different things. And those are some focuses I have this year as well. And the stretch that I have to get into. So Katrina, yes, multiple streams of independence. Yes, perfect. Hey, Gail, and you're welcome, Amy. I really appreciate you, and I hold the space for everything that you want and everything your heart desires. So you've got this, girl. So let's see what else. I just want to kind of button this up. Again, the conversation today is, where do you quit, right? Where do you find the reasons and the excuses and the and the emotional part of you where you just want to quit and go back to whatever you think is going to be safer or less pressure or what have you. And then what's the truth about it? And then where do you have to say yes? And like I said, that's what I called it, was that rubber band reaction. And when you feel yourself in that, be willing to step back and really own the truth about the matter, and then take new action towards what your goal truly is. And from your conversation here in the comments, I'm clear, you guys don't want a job. You want to make your business work. And sometimes it's challenging. Sometimes it's overwhelming. And sometimes the quit shows up. But it's how you respond to that that's the most important thing. And I'm the first one to say that I feel that on occasion, and I have support around me in order to kind of move through it if I need it. And I also, you know, have a practice of looking at it and really finding the truth underneath it so that I don't have to respond to it in a way that's not aligned with my vision. So thank you so much, guys, for being here. Thank you, Cheryl. Great to see you. And Katrina, thanks for following me all this time and watching how it's all changing and evolving. And Amy, I am such a big fan of you, and thank you for being here live. And Ruama, I see you. I was trying to scroll back and see who else is here. So if you're a replayer and you're watching this after the fact, I thank you for doing so. Please also comment and share with us, you know, what you're up to, what do you have to say yes to, and what are you taking away from this conversation. So I love you guys, and I will see you on the next Jena Unplugged. All right, you guys have a great day, and go get your brave on. Talk to you soon.